Hello and welcome to our discussion on strategies for business model generation. We previously talked about the business model canvas as well as patterns and design, and today we're going to talk about strategy as related to the business model environment, how we can evaluate our models, and how we can pursue a blue ocean strategy. So what we mean by blue ocean is really trying to reconcile cost and buyer value. And what we mean by that is that we can consider, based on what competitors are doing or what else is going on in the market, are there certain ways that we can deliver value to customers while reducing cost at the same time, and in that way changing the industry dynamic a bit and putting a high emphasis on raising and creating buyer value in new and innovative ways within our industry. When you look on the left-hand side, a red ocean is where many existing competitors are already competing. In this context, it's an existing market space. There is a commitment to beating the competition. There are existing demand, meaning an existing customer base that we are battling over, that we're having to make these trade-offs of value and cost. And in that way, we are focusing on the traditional strategic choices of to be better differentiated or unique, or to be more price sensitive or operate at a lower cost. And we're stuck in trying to choose which one of those do we want to do. A blue ocean changes that dynamic. And so within this blue ocean strategy, what we want to think about as entrepreneurs are uncontested market spaces, meaning things that are new, things that are already unsaturated by existing competitors. Are there things that we can do to make the competition irrelevant? And what we mean by that is, can we do something new or novel that makes the existing strengths and the existing capabilities of our competitors less relevant based on new and innovative ways that we think we can serve customers? We also want to think about new demand. Rather than battling over the existing customer base, are there things that we can do to create new customers that will see us as the preferred provider? Within blue oceans, there is an element of breaking the value cost trade-off. And what we mean by that is, are there things that we can do to differentiate and operate at a lower cost? So rather than it being an or situation, it's an and situation if we want to provide value. And we also want to think about how can we cut costs that do not contribute to the overall value that we're targeting. As an example of a company that identified and has successfully pursued this blue ocean strategy, we'll look at Cirque du Soleil. So it's much easier for me to show you what they do rather than tell you. So we'll play a brief clip and then we'll come back and talk about them in some detail. So what we see with Cirque du Soleil, based on this clip from their website, is a sample show, and they produce a variety of shows, dozens of different shows, performed hundreds of times a year worldwide, but they started, as did many companies, as a startup, doing one thing, and that was trying to differentiate from existing competitors. So when we look at these at an incremental level, there's a question of, well, what and who are their competitors? And we see Cirque du Soleil is indicated by the blue, and we see the smaller regional circuses and the larger Ringling Brothers as the incumbents in that space. And what was going on at the time, and is still in large part going on today with the Ringling Brothers, is they do have star performers, they do have many animals, they do concessions in the aisles, and they do have a variety of fun and humorous things that they're doing. They're clowns and there are stunts and things of that nature. So we see many of those things as being synonymous with a traditional circus, but Cirque du Soleil decided they wanted to do something different than that in order to be competitive in the space. And we recognize that, well, what is different, and you could see based on the venue that you saw, is that it was more dynamic. It was more artistic. There was an element of music and dance and a theme that's tied in with that. There are still an element of fun and an element of thrills and danger, and we saw some things that were familiar in a circus environment, such as clowns and performers and things of that nature. But what we did not see were things that they eliminated, such as animals. The cost of animals is quite extensive. There are also individuals that are opposed to using animals in such environments for animal cruelty and things of that nature, so they remove the animals. There are also no star performers, meaning that there are no high-priced celebrities that are embedded within the Cirque du Soleil performances. They are talented, they are diverse, but we do not necessarily know them by name. What we also see is they are not typically a rotating circus, meaning that many of their shows are not performed in multiple arenas, but they have a set venue that they'll establish and perform out of. Now, in recent years, Cirque du Soleil has begun doing small traveling shows, but the bulk of what they do is done in large existing arenas that are built specifically for them. What we also see that's different is the price point, and a price point dramatically higher for Cirque du Soleil than the Ringling Brothers, meaning that you may pay 2 or 3 times as much on a per-ticket basis for this experience. But recognize that the Cirque du Soleil performances might be more similar to a theater performance. They may be more similar to a Broadway performance. And so they are in some fashion competing against that price point and that level of value than they are to the smaller and national regional circuses. So in that way, Cirque du Soleil has decided there are a number of things they can eliminate. There are other things they can reduce, and there are additional elements that can be raised or that can be created to further differentiate themselves and bring them into a new and innovative market space that is relatively uncontested. And so within these 4 actions, the question of, well, what can be eliminated that is presently the norm in the industry or among competitors? What can be reduced? What can be raised? And what can be created? Or the 4 elements that we just talked about with the Cirque du Soleil chart. So it's within that blue ocean canvas that we have the opportunity to consider how can we differentiate, what can we stop doing, what can we start doing, and how can we pursue this uncontested market space. So in summary, it is that uncontested space that's really at the heart of Blue Ocean strategy. How do we not compete against everyone that's already there or doing the same thing the same way? How can we change that dynamic? How can we make the competition less relevant? And how can we focus on new market opportunities? And this is a particularly fertile ground for startups, in that it puts you in a position where the strengths of the incumbents, the strengths of the existing competitors in the space, become their own weaknesses if we are innovative, if we do find new ways to deliver value, and if we are cost conscious in the way that we exploit and evaluate those opportunities. Thank you.